Hey guys, I just wanted to do a live stream. If you see in the back right there, I got this Technics. Let me see if I can look at the actual name of it, guys. It's out. Oh, hold up, guys. It's a Technics BLSD20, I believe, and it has a slight hum, but I haven't plugged in a phono preamp to the turntable. So for any of you who are really good with turntables, might want to help out a girl who's not quite an expert with turntables. So I got this Technics SL BD20 turntable that I got from Goodwill for 19 bucks. And I'm wondering, is it normal to have the turntable have a hum when you haven't plugged in anything to it? Like, I haven't plugged in an amp or any speakers to it, so is it normal for the turntable to have a hum? Because for like 19 bucks, I'm not really thinking I'm going to go return the table, because I want to try to get this turntable fixed so I could use it as a backup turntable to my U-turn orbit, and I thought it was really awesome to have myself a used turntable. I found this one at Goodwill, at that Goodwill. I also saw that they had a BSR McDonald turntable, and I went and looked that one up also online, and I heard that one is kind of like the 70s version of a Crosley. So, I'm not too familiar with this whole setting up turntable things, because my turntable that I currently have, all I had to do was plug in some speakers and I was good to go, and that's all I had to do. With this older turntable from the 70s, I think this one's from the 80s, I have to go and buy a preamp and some speakers, and some RCA cables, which is gonna cost me a little bit of money, and I want to try and figure it out, but I'm probably gonna most likely have to go to an actual record store and see if they can fix it, and see if it's fixable. And if it's not fixable, I most likely am going to have to sell it on eBay, I suppose, but I want to fix it and have it for my collection. I don't have any plugs back there where I have the turntable, so I might actually move the turntable to on the other side of my room and use it over there, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but it's really exciting actually to have a used turntable. Now, someone told me it was a lower end model's Technic, which I was like, I'm fine with the fact that it's a lower end model's Technic, because as I said, I am not a person who's very well versed in what models of Technics is better than others, because I've never gotten a Technics turntable in my life. And when I saw it at the Goodwill, I thought, it's a Technics turntable. I've heard a lot about Technics. I've heard they're a great brand. I'm going to take a chance on it. So here I am trying to take a chance on it. I just got to go and buy myself a preamp. So for any of you that are actually watching right now, what is a good choice for preamp? I heard someone said Project, amp is good. And then someone one time said get an art amp. So if you are familiarized, which I'm sure a lot of you are because you're subscribed to me and you hopefully know enough about my turntable is a vintage one. I believe the one I got, I'm not sure, I looked at it and I think it's a P mount cart. It is from the 70s, I think, or the 80s. It's a Technics SL SBD 20. I think that's the model number. It's a vintage Technic, that's for sure. It's got scratches on it. I would actually take it off of my table right now and show you in the video, but I don't want to scratch it even more. It was kind of yeah, it's definitely a vintage turntable. I'm not sure. It's one of those turntables with the carts that is not, like, it's adjustable, the cart, but it has no, how to explain it? It doesn't have an adjustable kind of thing where you can take out the head shell, if that's explainable. And I do not see in the back of the turntable anything to adjust the counterweight. Like, it doesn't have an adjustable counterweight with numbers, if that makes any sense. Let me try and see if I can actually bring the turntable in the video. So I will be back. Whoa. Hold up, guys. I gotta sit down. I'm actually carrying this turntable to show you in the video. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. I gotta figure out how to actually set the thing, but here it is. Can you see it? That's the model of the turntable. And it is, I want to make sure. It's an automatic turntable system, SLBD 20. I do not know much about it. I just know that I found it at my local Goodwill for $19. And for $19, I thought that was a bargain. Because my turntable over here, my U-turn orbit, I spent a lot of money on that turntable. So everybody was always telling me on various vinyl forums that if you go to like a thrift store or you go and scour on your Craigslist, you will find a turntable for under $100 used. And that you could get your whole setup for under $100. So this turntable was $19. I'm figuring I can get a preamp for really cheap, and I can get speakers for really cheap, and I can have a whole setup for under $100 if I can just figure out what to do with setting up this turntable itself. Because I would love to set it up. I would love to use it. It looks like a really nice turntable. And I don't see on this turntable itself how I would go about setting up a counterweight. Is it in the back? I don't see that. It says precisely adjusted by the factory. Oh. So this turntable actually is already adjusted by the factory itself. So it's basically like my LP60 turntable that I have. Meaning that there is no adjustable counterweight to this. So that means I should just be able to buy a preamp and some speakers and that I could just automatically play this record. But the only thing I have with this turntable is it's not staying in place when I go and move the needle. So I'm gonna fix this turntable. It's gonna be something that's gonna be like my project. Direct drives are cool. Well, when I was first starting out into actually collecting records, I was a newbie. So I did not have too much knowledge on collecting record players. And 3 years later into collecting records, I'm still learning a lot. So for me, I'm willing to learn things. I'm willing to learn things. And you know what? In terms of direct drive, the next turntable I get, if I do get a turntable, like when I upgrade my whole system, I want to get the LP 120. That's like maybe 5 or 6 years down the line. If I do plan to upgrade and get another turntable for the other side of my room, I want to get an LP 120, because I've heard a lot about that one. I'm not opposed to any. Oh, simple belt drive, direct drive belt, or simple belt drive. Well, the turntable I currently have right now, my U-turn orbit that I've had for the past year and a half, has a belt drive. It has a belt. You just put the belt around the turntable and the record plays. It's really quite simple, which is why I originally got it, because when I was first starting out, I wanted something that was simple and that would play my records, and that I didn't have to go and fiddle with trying to do, having to fiddle with counterweight and stuff. Okay, thank you. I kind of more or less knew that direct drives didn't have a belt, and that ones that had a belt, you had to install the belt itself. And that's the only kind of turntable I've had. I've not had a direct drive turntable yet. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty cool investment, because I'm willing to figure out how to use this turntable, and I'm just really stoked, honestly, to finally get something vintage into my collection. Because I've gone through the whole entire phase of turntable collecting. I started out with a Crosley, LP60, then a U-turn orbit. So I've kind of like gone up in the ranks of turntable. Crosley being, the bottom, because when I first started out, that's what I used, and that's what I had, because I didn't know any better. So I had that the Crosley, and then I gave it to my sister, and she's currently using that said Crosley turntable, but I'm gonna eventually go and get her a different turntable, because I think she's had that Crosley. I think she's had that Crosley long enough. She's still a beginner in terms of playing records. She's not how to explain? She's not an audiophile. She just likes to play her records sometimes. So I'm gonna get her an LP60, which is above a Crosley and better than a Crosley, but not like the higher end of turntable. But she's not looking for something where she has to adjust the counterweight or the anti-skate, because she's not really that advanced in terms of turntable playing. So she just wants something. She just wants something that's basic. So I've been doing my research for a Christmas gift for her. So I'm going to be getting her a new turntable. Maybe I will do an unboxing video of my sister's new turntable, because I'm planning to get her one. So, because there's like so many different brands of beginner's turntable. So the three that I was thinking of is the Sony. There's a Sony PX, I think. PX. There's LP60, and there's the Pioneer 990. Now, I know some of you guys are going to be like, but you should get her a higher end advanced turntable. But for right now, I think that's what's good for her. My sister is 21, and she's been collecting records on and off since about maybe 2016, 2015. She doesn't collect them too often, and she doesn't really play her records that often, but I would prefer that she play them on a better system than the Crosley, if you know what I mean. So that's why I wanted to get her something that at least she could play her records and it would last a little longer than the Crosley itself. So I was thinking the LP60, but they have like a Bluetooth version, and then they go and they have the regular version of turntables. And I don't know if I want to get her the Bluetooth version, because the Bluetooth version, what you have to do is you pair it up with Bluetooth speakers. And for me, I think the whole idea of pairing up turntables with the Bluetooth speaker, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it kind of defeats the purpose of trying to learn how to use, RCA cables and figuring out how to set up with RCA cables. Yeah, because what I was thinking of getting her was just a regular. The one I was going to get her, the model I was going to get her is the gray model, or maybe the black model of the LP60, because she was she was looking, and she was kind of interested in the white one, but the white one is a Bluetooth model, and right now I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to get her one that she has to go and, go look online how to set up a Bluetooth, because honestly, I don't even know how to set up a Bluetooth. And so that's why I ended up getting one that's, just analog, because I like the whole idea of analog playing, just buying some speakers, setting it up. If yours doesn't have the preamp, just buying a preamp. So that's why I got this Technics turntable, because I want to figure out how to set it up with a preamp. That's like something I want to learn. Because my two turntables that I currently have don't have preamp. I mean, they don't have, they have preamps in it already. So I don't have to go through the step of buying a preamp, but I want to learn how to do that. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. It's not really new, guys. I probably titled this new because to me it's new. But, oh, there it is. For the purpose of the video, that Technics is really lightweight. So I was able to carry it to show you in the video. But otherwise, the Technics goes over there on my other tables that I have set up here. I got quite a few shelving units here to house a lot of records. But I don't have a lot of records yet. I just bought two other shelves just in case. I thought I was going to get a lot of records, but right now I currently have 281 records. Someone's probably going to tell me that is not a lot of records to have, and then there's some people that are going to be like, that's way more than what I have. Because I know there are some people in the vinyl community that have well over 1,000 records. Maybe somewhere in the 3,000s. But I do not quite have that much records yet. I'm not trying to get a goal of getting 1,000 records instantaneously. I paid $19 at Goodwill. I got this one at Goodwill in Hollywood. There's a Goodwill near the Amoeba record store that I go to. And I saw this Goodwill just there. I saw this Technics just there. It has a humming noise, guys. It has a humming noise. And for 19 bucks, I thought to myself, I'm not gonna just return it. I'm gonna try and get it to work. Because if I can get the Technics to work, that'd be awesome. And someone told me it's a really good buy because Technics, they don't come across too many Technics in a Goodwill. They said mostly when they go. How do you fix a ground wire issue? Because I would love to fix the ground wire issue to this Technics. Because it's making a humming noise, so I know if it's making a humming noise that definitely that Technics is working. Because if it wasn't working, it wouldn't be making any noise at all. But right now, that's a project of mine that I would like to get working, but it's not like the main thing on my back burner that I want to get working. But it's one of many projects that I would like to get fixed, if anything. But still, it's a good buy to me, because someone was telling me, you know what, if it doesn't work, you can just return it, or you can sell it. And I was like, dude, I want to try to get it fixed so that I could, have a pretty decent player. And someone told me it's a lower end model, and I was like, that I understand, it's a lower end model. But for me, owning a Technics period, it's like you just upgrade yourself. Because I hear everybody talk about Technics and how Technics is a good turntable, and when I saw this Technics at the Goodwill, it was like a sign. So I buy a preamp, and then I know, as much as I know that the red and white things in the back of the turntable is used for the RCA cable. So I know I'm going to have to go and buy some RCA cable, and I can use the RCA cables to connect to the preamp, and then I connect the preamp to my speakers, correct? Is that how it works? Let me look. Ooh, hold up. I'm actually gonna carry this turntable over me. Well, there is a switch in the back of the turntable, so I'm gonna assume, because there's not very much lighting right now in the morning, I'm gonna assume that means the ground wire thing. But as I said, I am definitely excited to actually go and play around with this turntable and get it working. For me, I want to know, guys, so with this automatic turntable that I got from Technics, the next thing I would like to know is where would I go about buying a needle for this exact turntable? Because if you look at the needle, can you see the needle? The needle itself is Technics P23. So I know the needle on this exact turntable is not one where you can someone yesterday told me it was the lower end of the model. But I think for me, because when I was going with my boyfriend, he's like, for you it's perfect, because you're not like 100%, you're not like an expert on turntables. He goes, you're not an expert on turntables, but okay. He said to me, you're not like a super expert on turntables, but he goes, you make up for that with your knowledge of what you know about certain bands, he said. He said, you know a little too much about the Beach Boys. So he said, you know, you make up for your not so big knowledge of turntables with your knowledge of music. He goes, you're a little bit cuckoo sometimes about how much you know about music. And I was like, thanks. I think he meant that as a compliment. But anyways, that's been very helpful. My record store, Amoeba itself, I don't know if it sells used turntables. I think it sells newer turntables. But I know Canterbury in Pasadena sells a used turntable. Yeah, that's true. That's what I was saying. Someone told me I should return it, but you know what I said to them? I said to them, but for 19 bucks, it makes a cool conversation piece. Even if it doesn't work, like, I can, down the line, I can just go and maybe send in to someone and get it fixed for about the same price of what I probably would have paid to get a Crosley. And then still, it would be good. They might have a guy on staff who can repair it. That's a great idea, actually. I'm thinking of doing that. I'm thinking of sending this baby. But for right now, you know what? It's still really cool. I just would like to know if anybody has any idea what year this particular low-end Technics model might have came out. I'm judging by the needle itself, since I know it's not like one of those, kind of like the whole model itself. I'm thinking it's an 80s model, because I know a little bit with my limited knowledge of turntables. I know that a lot of 80s turntables, I think, had this particular needle or this particular style of turntable. Because I'm thinking more in the 70s, they had the turntables with the adjustable counterweight and the anti-skating. And I know probably someone told me, a lot of people told me that the turntables in the 80s weren't the greatest. Let me look. Let me look at the turntable. Oh, there's a queuing. Oh, that's what I figured. I figured it was an 80s model. Because when I was looking up turntables from the 80s, I saw one that looked similar to it. And it looked really cool. Yeah, there's a queuing thing. There's a queuing thing on this turntable, meaning that you can cue the tracks of the actual record itself. So you can go track by track. Which is really nice for someone who wants to listen to a certain track. If you have a turntable and say you want to listen to a certain track on a turntable, you can cue it to that exact track, which is really nice. Because sometimes when I'm listening to a whole album, there's only one track I want to listen to. Can you tilt it so I can see the top? Tilt it so you can see the top. I'm going to try. Sorry guys if I can't really show you much because I got my phone plugged in while I'm charging it. Oi, let me try. I don't want to break this turntable. I'm trying to show you most of it. But there's also this button here. Oh, there's stop. And it plays 45 and 33. Which I have yet to find a turntable that plays a 78. So that's probably exactly why I gotta go and invest myself into LP120. Now, my sister, when she had her turntable, she thought you could play, she has the turntable, and she thought that she could play a 78 speed for her 12-inch records. And I told her no, that eventually that you need to get a different needle to play a 78 record. I just learned that like a couple years ago, because I thought, when I first got my Crosley, I thought, ooh, I can play a 78 record on here. And then someone told me, no, you need a special needle to play a 78 records, because that 78 record, supposedly, it has a material called shellac. And it's a way different material than what they currently use for records. And that I heard, someone told me that 78s were not being made after a certain time period, which was about probably maybe 1959. They stopped making 78s, because I have a 78 of my grandpa doing country music. If you guys probably didn't know, my grandpa used to have a country career back in the day. He wasn't Hank Williams or anything, but he did country music. So, you know, on the side, he recorded a 78 record of him singing bluegrass music, and I would love to listen to it. My whole family, on my dad, not my whole family, but on my dad's side of the family, a lot of them are musical. My grandpa played the flute, he played the, well, no, wait, he didn't play the flute. He played the fiddle, he played the violin, he played the guitar, and he played like 2 other instruments, so he played about 5 instruments in total. I had one of those in the 80s. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna work on this turntable. I'm gonna get it fixed. Gonna make it a project. I'll probably make it a series on my YouTube. Lisa gets her Technics fixed, you know? Because I want to update people. You had one in the 80s? Were you a kid of the 80s? Just curious. Or were you like an adult in the 80s? Because my significant other, he was like about maybe, I'd say he was about maybe about 5 years old in the 80s. You're a 90s kid? Cool. Were you born in the 90s? Wait, were you born in the 80s? Haha. Were you born in the 80s, Vinyl 86? Oh, 86. Cool. I was born in 82. See, I was born in 82, guys. So I was technically a kid of the 80s. By the end of 89, I was 7 years old. So I don't remember much about the 80s. I just remember that my mom got me some like Little Mermaid sheets. Yeah, that's right, guys. In 1989, Little Mermaid came out. I remember wanting to be Ariel. And then when the 90s rolled around, this was, oh, let's talk about things. This 1997, my mom got me my first ever turntable. It was an all-in-one stereo system, okay? It was an Iowa. I don't even know if they still make Iowas anymore, but we got this all-in-one stereo system. Yeah, I am definitely a 90s kid. So we got this all-in-one stereo system, and I didn't use that all-in-one stereo system to play records at the time because CDs were the big thing back then. This was 97. Everybody was collecting CDs. So I didn't get any records. And then, flash forward to 2014, I decided one day, I just randomly bought a record one day. And so I was like, you know what? I want to get back into playing records. Yeah, I had one of those all-in-one systems. What happened is our Iowa record player all-in-one system broke, right? The thing broke. So we weren't able to use it anymore, but my sister bought, this is my middle sister. My middle sister went and she bought a bunch of orchestra music. Now, I don't have those orchestra records because I am not too big. I'm not really big on orchestra records. So I gave them to my younger sister, the one which I'm going to go and not spend any cash in November. The one I'm going to go and actually buy a LP60 for. Because, you know, I gave her my old record player and I want to get her something better. I'm also going to buy her some speakers with the setup. So I'm going to buy her a record player and I'm going to buy her some inexpensive speakers because I don't want to buy her super expensive speakers. Because if I buy her inexpensive speakers, if they break down, I don't feel as bad. And plus, I've had Logitech speakers for like a very long time, so I think those will work. I think so too. I think so too. But she was really digging that white model from the LP60 lineup. But that one's a Bluetooth. And I'm not sure if I want to get her started with a Bluetooth. Because you know me very well if you're following my YouTube. I would rather prefer for her to have an analog system. Because analog system is what I've actually had for almost 2 years now. So I enjoy having my analog system. And I think that's what I want to get her, is an analog system. And plus, you know, I know some people on YouTube that I follow in the vinyl community, they have a Bluetooth record player. I know this one person, I don't know if you guys follow her, but this one girl that I follow on the YouTube vinyl community, Christine Summer, she posts Beatles videos. She has quite a few followers. I say she has about more than I do, like 1,800, because I have 125. But she's been doing videos longer than I have. I've been only doing videos since about, well, me, filming videos with me in it since about 2016. But I've been posting on YouTube since 2006. But before I started doing videos with just me filming behind the camera, I was posting concert videos and just random videos of my dogs and just basically, you know, like when I went to a store, kind of like vlogs without my face in it. Because back then when I was doing videos, I wasn't thinking that I could do videos about things that I like. And then in 2016, I started watching Vinyl Eyes. And I saw his cool videos where he was talking about his records. And I thought, hey, I could do videos like that. So thus I started doing videos. And so I saw she had a Bluetooth record player, right? Because I was, you know, thinking about what to get my sister. And I thought, ooh, a Bluetooth record sounds really cool because I thought, you know, hey, she might enjoy that. So, yeah, there were some people in the vinyl community who actually have Bluetooth record players. So, you know, I think if that's what you want to do and that's what you like to get, then get a Bluetooth record player. But for my sister, in my personal opinion, I'm going to get her an analog record player. Basically, if people are watching it, know what an analog record player is, so I don't really have to explain it. But if you're just a newbie that is watching my YouTube video and has no experience whatsoever with record players in general, an analog record player means you just go and you buy some speakers for it or a preamp, and you connect it into the back of your record player through RCA cables to play your records. You don't have this Bluetooth function, which I'm not even going to try to figure out how to use a Bluetooth function on a record player. I don't even know why, honestly, record players have Bluetooth functions. I thought the whole idea of getting a record player is to learn something. Yes. Vinyl Kick says connected via dual RCA cables. Yeah, 2 cables. You need 2 cables. White, it's usually white and red cables when you connect. And usually most of the turntables will have that in the back. Oh, okay. So, with the Bluetooth turntable, guys, can I ask you something about the Bluetooth turntable? Can you do an analog setup on the LP60 Bluetooth turntable? Is it possible? Because I am not currently on my computer right now. I'm filming this with my iPhone, and I'd like to know. So if my sister wanted to, so I can get my sister a Bluetooth turntable, and she can connect it. That's cool because, my sister was kind of eyeing this white turntable, but, I kind of wanted to get her, I kind of think the black turntable would look really sleek in her room. Although her color, she likes blue too. Oh, I see. I think I'm just gonna stick with the analog turntable because I don't want to go and, yeah, black turntables look great. Let me see. Guys, I think I'm gonna stick with analog because I want her to learn. I want her to learn how to do an analog setup. Because I think with having a Bluetooth, it defeats the purpose, and I don't think anybody, with a Bluetooth, it's like, defeats the purpose of analog. And I really think the whole idea of getting into buying a turntable is to learn how to, you know, set up a turntable with RCA speakers and or preamps if you got like a vintage turntable. So I kind of like the idea of having that. That's what I believe. You know, in my short time of collecting records, I learned to appreciate the whole thing of analog. Just, you know, the setting up the record player and just playing the records, how they're meant to be played. And of course, if you got records, you gotta clean them too. If you're gonna play records, you gotta clean them. Because I see people doing YouTube videos and they're playing the records and their records sound really grainy. I'm like, if you just would have, you know, took a little cleaning fluid to the record and clean it and make it sound shiny and new, then that would have been great. Now, I told my sister about this yesterday. I was like, you know what, Danielle? I'm going to upgrade your Crosley. And I'm going to get you a new turntable. And she's like, okay. She goes, I want these Hardeman card-in speakers. And you know what I said to her? I'm going to get you decent speakers for your turntable, but I'm not going to get you like super, super expensive speakers because you're just starting out. And so I'm not going to be spending a whole lot on speakers because the turntable itself is $99 on Amazon. So the turntable itself is 99 bucks. The speakers I'm looking at Logitech speakers. They run about, yeah, that's exactly why I'm not going to get those speakers. I'm not made of indisposable cash. I always like to, when I buy things, I always like to buy things on the lower end of price range. And so I'm going to get her some Logitech speakers. They're going to be good enough for what she needs to do. I already seen them. They're good enough price. For somebody who's beginning or starting out, computer speakers are just fine. Now, if she, however, in the future wants to upgrade those speakers herself, by all means, she can do that. And I will teach her how to do that. They are. I don't have Logitech speakers on my turntable. I have them on my other turntable, and they have served the purpose. I paid 21 bucks for them, but the speakers that I have on my U-turn Orbit are Mackie speakers, and those speakers cost me 106 bucks. Now, I figured since this was my main turntable, I wanted to make sure I got the best speakers. You are right. You are definitely right, Vinyl Kicks 86. That's what I was thinking when I went and researched yesterday. I was thinking about getting her something to start her out. Now, this is going to be a Christmas gift from me. You know? I figured it would be a really nice Christmas gift. I try. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, my sister, she's 21. I'm 34, going on 35. And we have about a 14 years age difference between us, which is really crazy that we have such a big age gap between us. I was 13 when she was born. And this was 1996. You know, for so many years, it was just me, my brother, and my sister. And then she just came out of nowhere. So I was like, oh, cool, I get a new sister. She came out of nowhere. Yeah, I try to be cool. I mean, my main motivation is to get rid of her Crosley record player. You know, I see her in her room. She's playing her Grizzly Bear 180-gram vinyl on that Crosley, and I see the Crosley, you know, slowly doing its job, slowly eating away. Actually, I have 5 siblings. I have a half-brother who's about 11 years older than me, born in the 70s. But, you know, he's my brother. Oh, you have 2 brothers and 1 sis. Cool. So, yeah, I want to upgrade her record player. Because she was reading my comments on Instagram, and she's like, why do you call the Crosley Cruiser a Crapley? And I said to her, oh, it's just something that Rob, Vinyl 79, here on YouTube calls a Crosley. He calls it a Crapley. So I kind of just, you know, started calling them that. So I just said to her, hey, I'm gonna get you a new record player. And so thus, I already told her that I was gonna get her a new record player, so I'm gonna get her one. And that's what's gonna happen. But other than that, you know, well, you know, I had it for a year and a half, and for the year and a half that I had it, my records didn't have like super visible damage. They had some damage, but I wish I would have done a lot more research when I first had my record player, and I wouldn't have gotten a Crosley. But for the year and a half that I had it, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, hey, it's affordable, and that, you know, it would serve the purpose for me playing records. And at the time, I wasn't playing records that much. But then when I got really then when I got serious about the hobby, I decided it was time to upgrade, which I did. And I mean, for a beginner's turntable, I wouldn't even say it's a beginner's turntable. That's why when I have people sometimes comment on my YouTube videos and they say, "Hey, I'm looking for a beginner's turntable," I always tell them get an LP60 or a U-turn orbit. I point them in that direction. I said those two turntables will do you great. If you plan to upgrade within the near future, I tell them, look into an LP 120 or a project debut if you have the funds. If not, I always tell them go use. Look at your local Craigslist. Ha! It's so true. I tell them look at your local Craigslist. Go to your local record store. Go to your local Goodwill and see if you can find a used turntable. Now, some people say, oh, you can find a used turntable for under $100. But it's not really that easy. You can't always find a used turntable. And Goodwills don't always have used turntables at their stores. That one requires a lot more work. So when people tell me, oh, but you can just find a used turntable and a receiver and an amp for under $100, I'm thinking to myself, not always the case. Sometimes it's just much easier to buy a new record player, which is why I suggest the LP 120 and the U-turn orbit and the LP60 and the Project Debut. I mean, there's probably other newer turntables out there, but those are the ones that I've heard a lot about. I don't know much about the other turntables. I know there's a Fluence turntable out there that Finalized reviewed that he got. Although I think he should stick with his LP 120, but because that one looks nicer. But there's a lot of turntables out there. And so for someone that's starting out, it is very overwhelming. Like, what kind of turntable do I get? Because there is so many different options out there. I mean, there's like 80 different suitcase record players out there, man. And for someone who's starting out, they assume that the suitcase records are what they should be using when they're playing their records. Now, granted, some people don't have that option or choice because they get it for Christmas gifts. Like their parents, they tell their parents, hey, I want a record player for Christmas. And the parents sometimes don't know much about record players. They go to some like local Walmart, Whole Foods even sells record players. And they just go and they pick up this record player because it's affordable. And they go and they give it to their kids for Christmas, thinking nothing much of it. So, it was for me, definitely, without a doubt. It was a daunting thing for me. When I first started out, I just was like, what am I doing? When I first got my first record player, I was thinking to myself, what the heck am I doing? How do I play this record? I thought my record player was skipping. I had no idea that you were supposed to start the record at the beginning. Because I started it in the middle of the record and I thought, oh my god, my record player is skipping. And I was overwhelmed at first. I was like, what am I doing? And then after a while of like dipping my sand feet into the sand, I figured out how to do it, and now I've got it down to where I do understand how to play records, and I'm pretty good at it. I'm still researching 3 years later into this whole record collecting thing. I'm still researching. I'm still trying to learn new things. Getting this Technics has definitely aided me in wanting to research way more into collecting. I learned to do what works best for you. That is exactly what I think. That is exactly what I think. I think that you should just do what works best for you in terms of things. So I will actually be filming a video of this Technics for YouTube. I actually have a vlog video that I did yesterday because I went all over town. I went to Amoeba Records to wait in line for Weezer. I went to the mall, and the mall has used records. So I filmed a little in there. I went to the food court. I went everywhere yesterday, so I will be compiling it all together for a vlog, which will be on my YouTube channel shortly, if I don't get lazy about it, because I'm not too keen about the whole vlogging thing, because, you know, you gotta hold a camera constantly when you're, thank you. You know, you gotta hold a camera constantly when you're filming, which is, because I have a camera that I bought about maybe 6 months ago. I bought a camera, one of those Canon cameras, to use for vlogging. You're always busy. Well, I just decided to vlog right now. I don't have a set schedule. I don't have a set schedule of when I do my live streams. I should, but I just got so excited about showing my turntable that I was like, you know what? I had to do it in the morning, guys, because around, what time is it right now? It's, oh, yeah, but today I'm going to be kind of doing things. I should do it at nighttime, you're right. But today I'm kind of going to be doing things. I kind of want to get out of the house, so I'm doing it in the morning. Just getting my live stream out in the morning, because I want to go and do some things tonight. I want to get some things accomplished. I got a vlog that I got to edit for my said YouTube channel. Hopefully go to Target and look at some storage stuff. And then I gotta also go to, I don't know, I gotta go to various places today. I wanna, you know, I wanna get myself doing various things today. But other than that, you know, some people, they do their vlogs at all different times of the day. Some people probably might even do a vlog at 3 a.m. I don't know if I would do that. I'd be kind of curious to do a vlog. Not a vlog, I mean a live stream at 4 a.m. just to see what kind of night owls are up. You know, just be like, yeah, I'm vlogging at 3 a.m. I'm not vlogging. I'm live streaming at 3 a.m. Guys, vlogging, I don't know how people do that. I know there's YouTube channels dedicated to people vlogging their everyday life. I don't know how they do that. How can you, like, hold a camera all day and vlog everything you do from day to day? Now, vlogging is not, I'll just tell you guys, it's not going to be a thing I do on my channel very often, because vlogging kind of bores me at times. Because I got to constantly hold a camera up in my face and tell you what I'm doing at said place that I go to. Like yesterday I went to the mall, and I was like, you know what, I got to vlog this for the vlog. So I think it's much easier for me just to stick to doing one thing. Like, just vlog about one thing, instead of just vlogging about a bunch of different things. And I don't even consider what I film behind my YouTube channel vlogs. They're more like just videos. But, you know, I have respect for vloggers, especially the ones with a lot of subscribers, vlogging their everyday life with their family. I personally, as a person, could not do that every day, but I decided to do it yesterday just for the heck of it. And if I do get enough responses for it, maybe I'll make it a once a week thing. Like, you know, set a date. Like, maybe do a vlogging video for Thursday. But my idea of vlogging is just going to a record store and vlogging what the record store has. You know? Because I'm not a person that really likes to vlog my everyday life, like, oh, I'm getting up, I'm gonna go brush my teeth, or, hey, I'm getting some breakfast, let's vlog me sitting on a chair eating oatmeal. Oh, let's vlog my vegetarian dish that I'm eating today, you know, for my YouTube subscribers, I don't know. Or whatever, I mean, pescatarian dish. Yeah, exactly. This is like gonna be a one-time thing. This vlog. This vlog that I'm doing for my YouTube channel, it's just gonna be a little one-time kind of glimpse into the life of Lisa. But other than that, I'm gonna stick to my records and my music and showing you my vintage things for my YouTube channel. That's basically mostly what my channel's about. And, you know, talking about music and bands, of course. And I really have been getting into a lot of newer artists, so I think I will explore that too. But other than that, I give you props, all you vloggers out there who are vlogging on the daily. The Weezer show is November the 1st. I got a poster, actually. I got a poster for the Weezer show. Let me actually go and get it and show you. So they made a snafu. They made a snafu on the actual show poster. It's supposed to be the 1st, but they put 11/7/17. So somebody actually is selling the tickets to this show for $60 a piece on Craigslist. $60 a piece. So they obviously went and bought 2 tickets for the show so that they could resell it. Which is cool if you want to resell tickets, but I think that's a little bit overpriced for the tickets, and I don't know if they're going to make the money back, because I paid $17. I paid $17 to get in the show, or $25. Actually, maybe it isn't overpriced if I think about it. Because if they paid $25 for the actual record itself, and they bought 2 records, it came out to about $50. So $60 per ticket does seem actually pretty decent, actually, if you kind of think of it. Because the vinyl record itself was $25. So they're just essentially making back the money that they lost. So now that I think of it, it's not really that much. But still, to try and get someone to actually buy a ticket for that show is going to be a pain in the butt, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. People could actually buy a ticket to that Weezer show and it would be fine. But I ended up getting this album, Weezer's Pacific Daydream. And they have a song on here about the Beach Boys. Can you see it? I don't know if it really shows up because of glare. But there it is, the Beach Boys. And I'm going to actually open this album for you on this live stream so you can see it. I was going to actually do a video about this, but you know, I still got to do the vlog, and I was like, I'm not going to do a video just for one CD. But let me show you the CD itself. It's really cool. It's got Japanese writing. Now, the reason, guys, why I did not buy the record is because I'm not even sure if I like the CD. I mean, I'm not even sure if I'm going to like this new album. And the CD was cheaper. And I didn't feel like spending $25 for the vinyl record. I could have, but I didn't. You don't like the new album? Nope. Nope. It's like a homage, if you will say. I think I remember reading in an interview, River Como talking about how he loved the Beach Boys. And how the Beach Boys shaped his life when he was young. So, if anything, it's more like a tribute to Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. Here's the album itself. It's got some Japanese writing. And let me show you the insert with the album. Here's the insert. And here's the lyrics to the Beach Boys song, in case anybody wonders if the song is crazy. It says, "The sun won't shine, metro screaming by, walking with the Mexicans, should I call an ambulance? We need a melody, a gorgeous 4-part harmony, so it all makes sense. There's gotta be more than this. Everyone wants to be cooler than everyone else. It's a hip world, and we're the furniture. Let's get out of the city. Let me tell you about a band I love. When I was a West Side kid. Turn it up, the Beach Boys, singing it out in a sweet voice, on a fall like a twist toy. Keep cranking them Beach Boys, turn it up, it's the Beach Boys, making my eyes get moist. Hold them up at gunpoint. Keep cranking them Beach Boys." Yeah, that's some of the lyrics to the song, so I'm assuming that Rivers was a very big Beach Boys fan back when he was a little kid, because he was born, I believe, I want to say he was born in the late 60s, early 70s. He's in his 40s at least. So I'm assuming that from reading these lyrics that Rivers was really into the Beach Boys, so the Beach Boys were probably a really influential inspiration for Weezer when they did their albums. I can kind of hear it in some of their songs. When I listen to it, I can kind of hear the whole Beach Boys aspect. But I listened to this album vaguely, and I will say that this album is... I'll have to play it one day for you guys. I'll have to say that this album itself is not as great as, say, 90s Weezer. I was kind of left, when I was listening to the album online, I was kind of left thinking to myself, is this just it? Is this what Weezer is coming out with? Because I love Weezer from their 90s stuff, like the Sweater Song, Pinkerton, the Red Album, the Green Album, and of course, my favorite of all the albums is the Blue Album, which is like the very first album that got me into the whole foray of listening to Weezer itself. Pinkerton and Blue are classics. So this is a crazy story. My sister's boyfriend works for Weezer. Yep, he works for Weezer. He's their assistant. He's the assistant to Rivers. So that's pretty interesting. And he said he's a really nice guy. So I'll take his word for it. But yeah, I'm just kind of, the last album, the White Album, I heard was really good. You see, there's only like legitly, I think all the albums. This is gonna sound kind of funny and kind of true, but all the albums that Weezer named with colors are usually their best albums. Like the Green Album, the Blue Album, the Red Album, the White Album. I don't know why. It just seems like that when I'm listening to Weezer albums. I'm like really enjoying their albums with color names. But then the ones with not so much with color names, I'm not enjoying. Minus Pinkerton, which is a beautiful album from start to finish. I really enjoyed Pinkerton. Now, the only other album I have from Weezer is Melodrop, which was an okay album. I bought it when it came out. I'm not exactly sure the year of when Melodrop came out, but I remember when it came out, I told my mom I wanted it for Christmas. And so my mom got me the album. I listened to it a lot. Keep Fishing is a pretty good song. But the Blue album, when it came out, I was probably about maybe this was 95 or 96. I was in middle school. And I remember I used to play the Sweater song all the time. I used to really love that song. I would play it on repeat. I think that's the only Weezer song that I know all the lyrics to. But overall, this album itself looks really cool. Like the Japanese writing. So we got on here, on this Weezer album, we got Mexican Fender, Beach Boys, Feels Like Summer, Happy Hour, Weekend Woman, QB Blitz, Sweet Mary, Get It Right, La Mancha Screw Job. I could not make that up if I tried. Any Fran of Diane. But I gotta say, this album cover itself is really pretty. I like the graphics on the album cover itself, which I think Weezer did a really nice job sonically with the album cover itself. I just feel like this album is weak. I feel like Weezer kind of rushed this album when they could have probably maybe taken a little more time to perfect this album. I feel like the songs aren't like 100% bad. I mean, I'm going to see Weezer because I'm hoping that Weezer will, play some of their 90s stuff, because I love 90s Weezer. And so if I get to hear the Sweater song, Buddy Holly, or El Scorcho live, I would be really quite content. Even Hash Pipe, which is not really a 90s song, but I really dig Hash Pipe, which I think came out in about 2001 to 2000-ish. So that'd be a really good one to hear live too. But as I said, yeah, let me read you some more of the lyrics actually. So you can, because I think the lyrics are a little weird. So we're going to go read the lyrics to La Mancha Screwjob. Because if you're going to name a song La Mancha Screwjob, you might as well be saying to yourself, what were you thinking when you named the song? I'm guessing River Comos has a love and affinity for Mexico. Okay. Been alone so many times before. Times are wasting. Singing songs behind a bolted door. Times are wasting. And now the clock's kept ticking on. It's like my own private beach. But then you come along and now we're famous. You and I, we do it right. Hanging out on a summer night. We're coming so far, we're shining so bright. Hanging on a... It kind of sounds like a song that would have been in the 70s. It sounds like a song Jefferson Starship would have wrote. You know that song they wrote? And we can build this thing together. Yeah, that's my 3 seconds you get of me singing. You know that one song they did? Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. It sounds like a song they would have wrote. It sounded like a song from the 80s. The 80s was full of, like, cheesy lyrics and gems, which is why I love the 80s. The 80s, oh my God. Can I just talk about how much the 80s is my third favorite decade of music. The first being the 60s, second being the 70s, and the third is the 80s. Just because of the absurd lyrics that they had in the 80s, I love the 80s. Of course, my 2 top favorite bands from the 80s is Depeche Mode. Oh, Tears for Fears, man. Awesome band. Tears for Fears is an awesome band. My 2 top favorite bands from the 80s is Depeche Mode, New Order, without a doubt. I love Depeche Mode and New Order. But Tears for Fears, 90s. That's interesting. I like some of the 90s. Don't get me wrong, guys. If I had to pick my top 5 favorite bands from the 90s, it'd be REM, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, probably, maybe Third Eye Blind for sure. And the 5th one would be a toss between, I don't know, Nirvana, Weezer, who else? Who else would I have loved from the 90s? Of course, guys, I was a teenager of the 90s, so, of course, I had to like my guilty pleasure, guys. Don't judge me. You can judge me after you watch this, if you want. But, I was into boy bands. I was into Spice Girls. I was into Britney Spears. Hanson, yes. I was a girl. Now, if you are a guy and you were into NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, you gotta wonder, but if you're a girl, oh yes, Matchbox 20, man. Matchbox 20, great band. Matchbox 20, I need to get their first album. Oh, kind of also like Bjork. Any of you guys listen to Bjork? She's really good. Oh, also Blur. Blur, I like Blur a lot. I like that song Boys and Girls. Coffee and TV is really good. Song number 2. Of course, there's some other bands that I like that are really good. Of course, I like 90s Depeche Mode. You know, Personal Jesus is a really good song. Who else do I really dig from the 90s that I would love to own? The Cranberries. The Cranberries is a really good band from the 90s. I love a lot of Cranberries discography. Semisonic, they had a song called Closing Time, which was a one-hit wonder. I really enjoyed that. Eve 6, Here's to the Night, was a really good song. I had some Smash Mouth on, I had that song All Star. Blink-182, Dude Ranch. I was really into Blink-182 back in the 90s. Oasis, yes, Oasis, Wonderwall. I need to get What's the Story, Morning Glory. Some house music. I was into a brief period of time. I was also into like slow jams, house music. And then there was, you know, there was many bands. If I'm looking through my 90s records that I had a lot of stuff. Most of my record collection is 90s kind of music. So there's like so many 90s artists that I really did dig and enjoy during the 90s. But my top 3 is the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Also, I like the 50s. So I would say the 50s. If I had to pick a top 5 of music, it'd be 60s, 70s, 80s, 50s, 90s. The 90s have got to be in there because the 90s was part of my growing up. So I have to include the 90s, although the 90s is not my favorite of you know, music genres. I do appreciate the 90s because the 90s brought us REM and Pearl Jam. Love Pearl Jam. I would dare to say that Pearl Jam is probably in my top in terms of 90s music. Jeremy's a really good song. Even Flow. Just so many good jams by Pearl Jam. Hence probably why their name is Pearl Jam. And you know, Soundgarden, for the short time they, you know, they were a good band too. And of course, Third Eye Blind. I remember the first time I heard Third Eye Blind, I listened to this song by Third Eye Blind called Jumper. And Jumper was the first song I heard by Third Eye Blind. I remember playing that song every day. I bought a single of the song Jumper because they were selling it at, I think it was Tower Records or Canterbury Records, one of those record stores. And I remember buying it and playing that song every day. That's how much I love that song. And I remember buying also, it's a good grunge band. I remember also buying, if you're going to look for an album, I also bought Morning View by Incubus. That was the first time I heard Incubus, and I really enjoyed Incubus. And Incubus is a band that, to this day, I still listen to from time to time. I need to get Morning View by Incubus in my record collection. I need to make a list and then just one day make a video about all the records that I would like to just indefinitely have in my collection. Yeah, Morning View, that's such a great album. Don't you agree? It's such a fantastic album by Incubus. It's an album that I would love to have on vinyl record in my collection, because I only have it on CD. And at the time when I bought it, I think it was only out on CD. I'm not sure if they had a vinyl release back when it came out. But I'm sure by now Incubus is probably, I'm hoping Incubus has, you know, put out their entire discography on record. Such a great album. But there's other albums by Incubus, but that's my favorite. Science by Incubus. I have got to look into that album, actually. I will go and get my Incubus album for you, if I can find it. Okay. This is Incubus's Morning View. My favorite songs on here are Nice to Know, Circles is really good, Wish You Were Here, Just a Phase. My favorite is probably either Blood Underground or Aquatic Transmission is really good. Are You In is also really good. Echo's really good. Just warning, this whole album, I think, in itself is really good. I've had this album since, let me see the year it came out. I bought this album in 2001, guys. When I was 18 years old, I bought this album when it came out. Because I remember playing this all the time. Back then, they did not have Spotify. So we went and downloaded albums on LimeWire. LimeWire and Napster. I know. Because back then, people were just, you know, that's how they listened to albums back then. But they had some really good gems on this album. And I still have the CD. 2001. So this album's been in my collection for 18 years almost. It's got scratches because, you know, when you have an album for 18 years, it's not going to be in the most pristine condition. Let's see what else we got here. Just a Phase, 11 a.m. But my absolute favorite is Blood on the Ground. I need to check out the 10 Years Division album. Sounds like I will definitely check it out. Let's see what other 90s records I have. Or what other albums I have here that we can show. Here's some just random albums that I picked up to show you for this video. I just picked them at random. These are CDs because besides having a record collection, I do have CDs. This one is called Smashing Pumpkins, Machine of the Gods. I bought this one when it came out. And this one came out in 2000. I have not played this one too much, but Smashing Pumpkins is nevertheless a good band from the 90s to have in your collection. I forgot to mention Smashing Pumpkins. They would definitely be in my top 5 of 90s bands. I need to get Siamese Dream by Smashing Pumpkins. Really good artwork cover here. I know they have this one on vinyl, but the only one I can definitely see myself getting is Melancholy and Indefinite Sadness and Siamese Dream. Now, my favorite songs on this particular record, this is not, by the way, this is not a 90s this is not a 90s record of theirs. This is 2000, but they are still technically a band that got their start in the 90s. The Everlasting Blaze is really good. Raindrops is a really good song. Glass and the Ghost Children. This album itself is really interesting. But, you know, Smashing Pumpkins have really evolved. They've done a lot of albums, but the 2 albums I want to get I already mentioned in the video that I want to get on vinyl itself. Next, these are just random albums at pick that I picked from my CD shelf. Next, I got Switchfoot. Don't know why I bought this album. I'm not really a super huge Switchfoot fan anymore, but this is kind of like the definitive Switchfoot album to have. The only one I think I would actually have by them. They're a Christian band. I still have the CD, which is crazy. And I bought this album in 2003, and I was probably about 21. As you can tell, this album got stuck together, so that's it. We were meant to live for so much more. Yes. That's actually, ironically, the only song I really enjoyed by them. Switchfoot. And then, oh wait, no, I like This Is Your Life. More Than Fine's really good. Ammunition, Dare You to Move, Redemption. I actually kind of really almost like this whole album. The Fray, I have The Fray. The next album that I have is, I got a couple of Modest Mouse albums. You guys ever listen to Modest Mouse? This is We Were Dead Before the Ship Even Sank. I bought this on CD. It was more of a treat yourself kind of moment. The album is really pretty. You see, back in 2007, people were not really collecting records as much as they do now, so people are still buying CDs. So look, it came with this really cool kind of a poster thing here. Yes, old Modest Mouse is killer. Which I do have one old Modest Mouse CD. I've seen Modest Mouse live. It was a pretty interestingly cool show. Next I got by Modest Mouse is Modest Mouse, the Moon, and the Antarctica. I bought this one at my local record store, Canterbury, which is another cool album that folds out and has pictures. My favorite song on Moon and the Antarctica, is I really like Third Planet's really good, but my favorite is Tiny Cities Made of Ashes, which is personally my favorite of the Modest Mouse songs on this album. Gravity Rides Everything is also really good. Perfect Disguise is really good. What People Are Made Of is an excellent song on that album. And then from We Are Dead, Even Before the Ship Sank, I really like Marching to the Sea. Dashboard was their hit song on that album. Invisible is really good. Education. We Got Everything is probably my favorite off of We Were Dead Even Before the Ship Sank. Now, Old School Modest Mouse is really good. It's not sonically their best work because I personally prefer older school Modest Mouse stuff. But, for what it's worth, it's pretty good. So here we go, picking out more random CDs for this video. I probably might actually keep this live stream up because this live stream is going pretty good. First I got Savage Garden, Affirmation. Now, Savage Garden, ironically, is a band that I did dig for a bit of time in the 90s. Because I was going through my 90s pop phase. So, I ended up getting this album, and my favorites on here are Affirmation's really good. I Knew I Love You is their biggest hit. Crash and Burn is really good, but my favorite on here is Two Beds and a Coffee Machine, which I believe talks about a girl who's going through abuse, which is just really nice. And then George Ezra, which is a newer artist. This is George Ezra's Wanted on Voyage. I went and saw this concert. My favorite is, I like Budapest, but my favorite is definitely Blame It On Me. He's a rather newer artist that should come out with a new album soon. Then, of course, I got some indie. This is Bombay Bicycle Club's Flaw. This is a really good indie album. Dust on the Ground's really good. Ivy and Gold is my favorite off this album. Of course, for you guys that were talking, I have The Fray. This is their self-titled album. It's a limited edition featuring Over My Head Cable Car. I bought this when it came out in 2006-ish. This came out. I used to be really huge into The Fray. I knew all their lyrics. My favorite, obviously, is going to be Dead Wrong is really good. Over My Head's really good. How to Save a Life. But I say my favorite is Look After You. Although All at Once is also really good. She Is. Pretty much this whole album is good. But my favorite is Look After You. But the album is still here. I still have it. It's a deluxe edition, so I have a CD, I think. Oh, a DVD comes with it. I've not watched the DVD. I've owned the album for like 11 years, and I've never watched the DVD. I have a DVD player on my computer, and you got your standard lyrics here. Really good album to have in the collection. I want to get that on vinyl. I want to get How to Save a Life on vinyl. I don't know if The Fray has their... Yeah, Train's okay. Ironically, Train's okay. That's actually my favorite song by Train. I don't know if I could stomach newer Train. But I like Drops of Jupiter. Here we got the Almost. Monster, because I also went through my pop punk phase, where I was just strictly listening to pop punk. But I just like the title track, Monster. I haven't listened to any of their stuff recently. I just bought it when I was going through my phase. This would probably maybe be a cool one to have on vinyl record just for the nostalgic reasons, but then, of course, we got to have some Josh Groban. because you gotta have Josh Groban. I have the vinyl version of this album because, you know, I do appreciate my singer-songwriter type people. My favorite is My Confession. Oceano's really good. Just the whole album of Josh is really good. Then, of course, I gotta have more Josh Groban. This one's really beat up. But it's really cool to have. It's a CD-DVD combo. Let's see what else we got here that we can show you. Okay, I guess I'm going to just show you pretty much my whole collection, but I got so much Josh Groban before I end this video. Drake Bell. When I was going through my bad phase of music, I bought this CD. I didn't pay so much for it. Arctic Monkeys. This one is Whatever People Say I Am, That's Not What I'm Not. Good Arctic Monkeys album. My favorite is I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. Fake Tales of San Francisco was really good. The View from the Afternoon is really good. Red Light Indicate Doors Are Secure. Marty Bum. Perhaps Vampires is a bit strong, but When the Sun Goes Down. My favorite is probably When the Sun Goes Down or From Rich to Rebel. I got this album in 2006 before Tower Records closed down because Tower Records was closing down, and there was going to be no more Tower Records. So they were closing all the Tower Records down. So I went to Tower Records and I bought this because I thought, you know, this would be really cool. I was getting heavily into indie music at the time, and I was buying a lot of indie artists. So when I saw this album, I had to buy it. Now, Arctic Monkeys is loved by a lot of teenage people, so at the time, I was just, you know, young, and I wanted something cool. Got a bunch of pictures. Don't think the band's in any of these pictures, but nonetheless, it's a really cool album to have. I played it a few times. I eventually want to get it on record. But yeah, cool album to have. Got some bluegrass here for you. Sean Watkins, Blinders On. Because I do like to have some variety of music in my collection. So I have this album. Sean Watkins is one member of this band called Nickel Creek, who came out in, I believe, the early 2000s. They had an album called This Side. They're a really good band. I want to get a couple of their albums on vinyl, if possible. I would love to own it, but I don't know if their discography is currently on vinyl, because with a lot of artists, a lot of their discography is on CD, but when it comes to vinyl, it's harder to find. But if I do see it, if I look it up and I see it on vinyl, I'm definitely going to purchase it. But yeah, my favorite is Summer's Coming. Starved to Death is really good. The Sounds of My Crush. Hello Goodbye. It's a good album. Next we have Vampire Weekends. Modern Vampires of the City. When is this band going to come out with a new album? I don't know. But this is a really good album of theirs. Love, Worship You, Hey Ya, Young Lion's good, Step, Unbelievers, Diane Young, you got Hannah Hunt. My favorite is either between Hey Ya or Unbelievers or Step. It's like a three-way tie between those three songs. They're all sonically good on this album. This album was so good that I ended up buying the vinyl album of it. Ended up buying the whole entire collection of Vampire Weekend. For a period of time, Vampire Weekend was like my absolute favorite band. You got the lyrics. You got the band itself. Ezra Ronstam, who's no longer in the band. You got Chris. And you got CT. Then you got more lyrics. Then you got the back where they thank all the people. But Ezra, as of recently, has been, producing stuff for Netflix. He did this anime series called Yoko, which I tried to get into and watch. I watched like maybe 3 or 4 episodes before I realized that I really wasn't interested in the show itself. I thought it was kind of a little weird that a musician is doing an anime for Netflix, so I just could not get into it. And I stopped watching it. Then you gotta have some Killers. The Killers live from Royal Albert Hall. 2-disc CD. Pretty neat to have in a collection. Don't actually know why I bought it. I just bought it on a random whim. Of course, gotta have Weezer. This is Maladrop from Weezer. And this album came out in, doesn't say the year, 2002. I remember buying this album at Costco. Of all places, Costco was selling records, CDs, so I ended up buying it at Costco. Then, of course, you gotta have some modern artists in your collection. I have this 21 Pilots Blurry Face. Really love that song called Hometown. But, Stressed Out is really good. Heavy Dirty Soul. Tearing My Heart, fairly local. Ride, The Judge, Lane Boy, Doubt, Polarized. Just the whole album itself. I don't say that about very many albums, but every song on this album is really good. And I ended up actually buying the vinyl version of that because I love I bought the vinyl version first, and then I ended up buying a CD because I just sometimes like to have a CD copy when I'm in the car. I just like to, put on some 21 Pilots. Donna Lewis, Now in a Minute. I bought this in 1997. I was 14. You got to get Lordy's album. I don't have any Lordy in my collection. Lord in my collection. But yeah, I bought this in 97. Didn't think much about it. I just thought, I wanted it. To be fair, in 97 I was 14. In 97 I was 14, so my music taste was very questionable. NSYNC, Christmas album. That's another album I don't know why I bought, but I bought it. Do I have any regrets about it? No, not really. I was a teenager. Mariah Carey. Yes, I went and bought some Mariah Carey. This was 8th grade, guys. This was my first ever album I bought. 8th grade. Mariah Carey, Daydreamer. Some Color Me Bad. Now and Forever. Yes, I bought this one in 8th grade too. Would I listen to this album again anymore? No. I don't even know why I bought it. It had some questionable taste in 8th grade. The Rocket Summer. Men's of Angel and Men. Another album I don't know why I bought, but I was kind of a fan of his for a bit of time. You need Tracy Chapman's first album for sure. Next one I got is Chris Steele's How to Grow a Woman from the Ground. He is 1/3 of Nickel Creek. Nice album. Has a cover of Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground from the White Stripes. It's a bluegrass cover. It's really good. Watch It Breakdown is really good. O Santo de Porvora is really good. Wayside Back in Time. My favorite on the album is You're an Angel and I'm Gonna Cry. When I bought this album, it was Christmas, and I thought, you know, I wanted some Chris Dill in my collection, and very pretty album. The CD's really pretty. Now, Chris Dill himself does other stuff. He is in Nickel Creek, and he also is in Punch Brothers. If you haven't listened to Punch Brothers, I suggest you listen to Punch Brothers. And, you know, you got the lyrics. He also does Heart in a Cage, which is a Strokes cover. Nice picture of him. So yeah, that is pretty much all the CDs I have, with the exception of a lot of Josh Groban, which I am not going to end up showing you in this video, but I'm going to actually end this video now. I've been here for quite a bit of time on this video, and I shall have my vlog up soon. Okay, I will. I will keep that in mind. Allison Cross. But, thanks for watching this vlog, guys. I gotta go do some other things, so, peace out. Love and grooviness, guys.